A young businessman named Will Shaw decides to spend his vacation in Spain with his family. Upon arriving at the airport, he is greeted by his father, Martin, an art critic, with whom he has always had a strained relationship. During the ride to the yacht, the two argue because Will is constantly on his phone. At the dock, his mother, Laurie, greets them and the family sets out to sea, hoping for a relaxing holiday. However, Will continues to be preoccupied with his phone during dinner, irritating his father. Eventually, Will confesses that his company went bankrupt a few hours ago. The following day, Martin takes the boat out to sea, hoping to interest his sons in it. However, Will remains fixated on his phone, causing Dara, his brother's girlfriend, to get hurt during a small jolt. In frustration, Martin throws the phone overboard and demands that Will deal with his problems later. Will leaves the boat and goes into town to clear his head. Meanwhile, Martin notices a suspicious boat circling their yacht, raising his suspicions. When Will returns, he realizes that their boat is missing. Despite attempts to gather information from locals, they are unable to find any leads. Will decides to search the coastline and eventually finds the boat in an empty lagoon. However, the boat is empty, and Will begins to fear the worst for his family. With a sense of urgency, the businessman storms into the local police department, seeking help, only to be met with dismissive officers. But as soon as the chief catches wind of his last name, the situation takes a sharp turn, and the police are suddenly on edge. Later that night, Will and a group of cops arrive at the yacht's location, but Will's instincts kick in as he senses something amiss. He spots a stranger waiting on the shore, someone he's supposed to be handed over to. Realizing danger is imminent, Will pulls off a daring escape, seeking refuge in the cop's car. But before he knows it, he's apprehended, and the businessman falls victim to brutal beatings. Just when it seems all hope is lost, Martin, Will's father, swoops in to the rescue. As they speed away from the altercation, Martin drops a bombshell on Will. He's not just an art historian, but a seasoned CIA agent with years of government service. He reveals that his family has been kidnapped due to a theft of a crucial CIA item. Soon after, Martin's phone rings, and a mysterious Carrick arranges a late-night meeting. Before meeting Carrick, Martin takes Will to an unfamiliar apartment where he has a hidden stash of guns. Will leaves a message for a certain Diego, a glimmer of hope in the midst of the chaos. Meanwhile, in a secluded location, a sniper lies in wait, a deadly trap primed and ready, anticipating the arrival of the agent. Martin instructs his son to stay in the car as he meets with Carrick, who is supposed to be a trusted friend. Martin implores Carrick to return the stolen suitcase to the kidnappers, and Carrick promises to come up with a plan. However, as Carrick returns to the car, the stillness is shattered by a sharp crack of gunfire as the sniper takes aim and pulls the trigger. Will's heart races as the old man crumples in front of him, bullets whizzing by. Instinct kicks in, and he grabs his phone and gun, making a daring escape. But the phone call that follows leaves him baffled. The kidnappers refer to his father as Tom, a name he's never heard before. With no time to dwell on the mystery, Will finds himself caught in a deadly shootout, a police officer's life lost, and the mounted police hot on his trail. Desperate for a plan, Will seeks refuge in an outdoor toilet, his mind racing. He knows he needs help, and the embassy seems like the best bet. But when he calls a special agent, he's met with disbelief. They deny any knowledge of his father, Martin Shaw, ever working for them. As if things couldn't get worse, Will now finds himself accused of murder, with only an independent lawyer from the embassy to represent him. The tension mounts as the counselor requests Will's presence downstairs, where someone awaits him. As he descends, he's met by Jean Carrick, a mysterious mercenary. She insists he get in her car to avoid suspicion, and then drops bombshell after bombshell, revealing intimate details of his childhood that only his father could have shared. Carrick claims Martin was a traitor to the country and was killed on her orders. Will's unease grows, but he keeps his wits about him, feigning illness to slip away from her grasp. Evading patrol cops, Will turns to a stranger for help, who pays for his bus fare. Meanwhile, Martin's phone continues to ring, a chilling reminder from the kidnappers that they won't rest until they get the stolen suitcase, no matter what Martin's fate may be. Will's family hangs in the balance, and he must navigate a treacherous path to uncover the truth and save them from the looming threat. As Will sifts through the call log, one number catches his eye, Diego's. Martin had been in touch with Diego frequently, and Will decides to take a leap of faith and reach out to him for help. But when Will arrives at the designated meeting spot, he's in for a chilling surprise. A killer is lying in wait. Quick thinking and sheer determination help Will and Lucia, a wary young girl, narrowly escape the killer's clutches. Will explains to Lucia that her uncle Diego is in danger, and they rush to his home, only to find him already deceased. As they eavesdrop in Diego's apartment, they overhear voices, which turn out to belong to Carrick, and her devoted mercenary. With nerves of steel, Will barges into the kitchen, gun in hand, interrupting their discussion about his family's kidnapping and his own demise. Desperate for answers, Will tries to extract information from the criminals, but Lucia's anger gets the better of her, allowing Carrick to gain the upper hand. Will and Lucia flee through a daring rooftop escape, using wires to lower themselves to safety. Despite a fall and some close calls, Will manages to elude Carrick with the help of locals. But Carrick is relentless, determined to silence Will and Lucia for good as they become witnesses to her crimes. Lucia tends to Will's bullet wound and confronts him in anger, demanding to know the truth. Will reveals a shocking revelation as he shows her a picture of his father, whom Lucia recognizes as Tom, a man with whom her mother had an affair. With more questions than answers, Will asks Lucia to join him in confronting their kidnappers, hoping to unravel the secrets of his father's past along the way. Initially, Will hesitates to join the stranger, knowing the danger it may entail. But Lucia comes to the rescue, providing him with the address of a club where they can meet later. However, the stranger doesn't take no for an answer and forcefully takes Will to a room where his family is being held hostage. The captors lay out their demands. Will must retrieve a valuable suitcase from Carrick, who now possesses it, and lead them to his father's killer. They promise to release Will's family if he succeeds. With his loved one's safety at stake, Will reluctantly agrees, determined to seek revenge once the task is done. After being dumped from the car, Will makes his way to the club where Lucia is anxiously waiting. Despite encountering some trouble with the security guards, Will and Lucia come up with a plan to lead the gangsters to Carrick with the help of their friends. They use a credit card as bait, successfully luring Carrick's mercenary to the club, where they extract valuable information from him. Will's friends allow the mercenary to escape so they can tail him to an underground parking lot where the suitcase transfer is supposed to happen. Along the way, one of the gang members secretly gets into Lucia's car to warn her that they are on her side, while another tries to convince Will to abandon the dangerous mission and prioritize his safety. But Will's determination is unwavering. He refuses to back down until he knows the whereabouts of his family. The commotion catches Carrick's attention, and they realize that they are being pursued. With her partners out of the picture, she seizes the suitcase and makes a break for it. Bullets fly as a firefight erupts, and Will spots his chance to grab the briefcase. But despite his heroics in saving Lucia and taking down Carrick, the cunning agent manages to snatch the lost item and slip away, leaving behind a saddened dog. Determined, Will gives chase through the city, leaving chaos in his wake. The pursuit is intense, and Carrick tries to ram Will's car, but the skilled agent evades, and the two crash through a glass window. In the midst of the mayhem, Carrick indiscriminately fires at innocent bystanders, and now it's Will who's hot on his heels. With a daring move, Carrick cuts off Will's car, sending both vehicles flipping onto a rooftop. Carrick gloats over Will's injuries and Lucia's unconscious state, convinced that it's the end for them. But suddenly, a shot rings out, and a group of armed men appear, led by the very kidnapper who took Will's family. They whisk away Will, Lucia, and the suitcase, vanishing before the police arrive, leaving only Carrick's lifeless body behind. Will is taken to his family's hangar, where he learns from one of the bandits that his father, Martin, was a revered agent who would have been proud of him. Outside the hospital, Will encounters a secret agent who returns his papers and offers him a chance to follow in his father's footsteps with the CIA. Though tempted, Will declines, but remains eager to unravel the mystery of the briefcase. Unfortunately, the classified information remains elusive, and Will can't get answers as a civilian. He fills in Josh about Lucia, extending an offer to introduce him to his new sister, and Laurie stays by Lucia's side to ensure she feels supported in her expanded family.